Welcome to the World United. Welcome to the World United.
You're okay. Go ahead with that. I'll just talk for 1 second and introduce you, and thank you for being here, and anybody who are joining us for the 2021 Global Transformation Festival. Thank you for your patience with our technical difficulties during this era of doing everything virtually. But Dr. Janet Warfield is here and will be presenting to us. Dr. Janet Smith Warfield serves wisdom seekers who want understanding and clarity so that they can live peaceful, powerful, prosperous lives. Through a unique combination of holistic, creative, right brain transformational experiences and 22 years of rigorous left brain law practice, she has learned how to sculpt words in atypical ways, shifting her listeners into experiences beyond words, transforming turmoil into inner peace. Janet is a retired attorney, consciousness educator, word energy alchemist, Amazon best-selling author, Shift, Change Your Words, Change Your World, international speaker, workshop facilitator, and founder of the educational foundation, Planetary Peace, Power, and Prosperity Legacy Foundation, Incorporated. Thank you so much for being here, and the time is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Nate. Yeah, we kind of had a shuffling of time here.
Yeah, we're getting to it the best we can, and thank you everyone for your patience.
Okay, as a kid, I loved the optical illusions. They were fascinating to me. So this is all about piercing the veil of illusion of what we think is the material world, and maybe surrendering or letting go or leaping or having that moment of faith and trust and reconnecting with an energetic world, which is beyond Maya. Maya is, I believe, a Sanskrit word. I'm not 100% sure of that, and I didn't have time to go check it again. But Maya is the phenomenal world of what appear to be separate objects and people. So it creates for a lot of people the illusion that it is the only reality. That's a tree, that's the dog, that's mommy, that's daddy. And boy, these are all separate objects out there. And there's also a subject-object duality in that, because it is I, subject, looking out there at object. We humans have created that. So anyway, we're simply going to play tonight. I usually do this with in a workshop setting with people who are able to give me their input. And I see we have Nate, and Ruben is on as well. So actually, maybe, I don't know whether we can play with this or not, but if we can't, I will just do the presentations and hope I can get the technology to work, okay? So, and one more thing about Maya, the word Maya, I believe it's Sanskrit, and Ma means not, and Ya means that, or this. So when the student asks the teacher, well, is this what truth is, or what enlightenment is, whatever term you want to use? And the teacher says, Maya, not that. It's not that. It's because the student is conceptualizing and in his or her head. So let me see if I can, maybe it's going to work for me. I'm getting better at this. So should we try to do this interactively, Nate, or?
I'm happy to. I'm happy to participate however you would like, whatever makes it more comfortable.
Let's do it. It's much more effective when you tell me what you see rather than my telling you what you might be able to see.
It was so cool, because as soon as you put it up there, I said, oh, wow, illusion. And then I went, whoa, wait a second. It says optical. And I was like, wait, it's both of them. That's super fun.
Yeah, and it is super fun when you start playing with this. I mean, there are all kinds of games you can play with the illusions that we human beings actually create. This is an optical illusion created by a friend of mine, John Langdon. He has a fascinating website used by permission. So I just thought I'd start with that and see what you came up with. Okay, let's move on. This is the one that I think probably everybody knows. It's probably the original optical illusion that I was exposed to. So what do you say, Nate? You've probably seen this before, right?
I have, but it took me a second to see both of them. At first I saw the young maiden with her head turned away.
Well, you're a guy.
Yeah, it kind of seems normal, right?
And then what else did you see here?
And then I'm like, wait a second, there's something else to it. And then you can see the, and I guess I would say the older lady kind of with her head scrunched down.
Right. And now let's give some word labels to the parts of this you see, depending on whether your mind is shaping this as a young lady or an old hag. For example, the beautiful young lady, I'm adding a word there, the young lady's chin. What is that on the old hag?
Her nose.
So if I were seeing, and my mind was framing this as the young lady, and we were talking about the same part of that image, I would be using the word chin, and you would be using the word nose, and we would probably fight over who was right and who was wrong, unless we can open our minds up enough to see both images here. And then you're in choice. Does one image support your own sense of well-being more than the other? I mean, certainly most men prefer to see the beautiful young woman and not the old crone. But you know, just notice the different words that we stick on this fixed, unchanging image, depending on how our minds structure it. So moving on from something that is pretty familiar to this one. This is by, I believe he's a professor at a college. Punya Mishra, his name is Punyamishra. And he's a very interesting guy if you go into his background a little bit. But okay, what do you see here, Nate?
Well, and you have to, I will also lead with, I'm a visual person and I'm a sculptor. So I tend to look at lots of different ways. So at first I saw good and then I was like, oh wait, but there's more in it. And then I saw evil.
Yeah, exactly. Now to take this exploration a little further, when you see the word good, how do you feel?
You're right. I looked at that first and I was like, oh, cool, good. I felt happy. And then when I saw the evil, I felt that sort of clenching, that kind of holding almost of probably fear.
Yeah, exactly. It's a difference between almost an expansion of energy and a contraction of energy.
Ooh.
And once you can see both, you're in choice, right?
Yes.
Which makes you feel better. How do you want to feel? Do you want to feel contracted or do you want to feel expanded and happy?
Yes. I'll take the expanded and happy, please, and thank you.
Okay, so then you focus on the good in that word. And you help other people see that word as well. The people who see evil when they first look at this and cannot see anything else, because it is probably also contracting their energy field, but they don't even realize that because they're so focused on perhaps looking for evil instead of looking for good. So moving right on here. This too is by John Langdon. The reason these beginning words are not capitalized are because that's the way he asked me to put it in. But again, what do you see here, Nate? And of course, you're the sculptor, right? So you're
Right.
gonna
The first thing I saw was love, and then I saw note. So love note, and I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's interesting. Now there's another bird you can see in there.
Oh, let me look at it some more. Hold on, I got to pull me over so I can see that. Love note. Oh, hate is also in there, isn't it? Oh my goodness. I didn't even think to look for more than two.
Well, you see, and these are my limitations that we've been taught.
Right. Well, why am I so
limit
prone to go to a binary? Holy cow.
Yeah, I didn't tell you to just look for two.
No.
I just asked you what you saw there.
And I figured I was doing well because I saw two.
Until I asked you an additional question.
Right. Is there another one? And I'm like, oh, yeah, let me look at that for a second. Then I'm like, wow, yes, there is another one.
Yeah, I hope I can get the screen to work for me. Right now, I'm not seeing any way of scrolling it down here. Come on. It worked the last time.
If you go over to down at the bottom, along the bottom where it says slide 5 of 5, so it looks like there's only 5 slides in this
No,
presentation.
there are more than that.
Okay.
Oh, maybe I pulled up the wrong thing. Oh my gosh. Hold on. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
Because I have, actually, you know what I can probably do is just, I thought I had this all organized. I guess I was wrong. So just give me a minute if you would be so kind here. Are you recording this?
I believe it is being recorded. It says on custom live streaming, so I think it is.
All right, it probably is then, because my button looks as if it's not recording. Hold on here. I am so sorry. I thought I had this all figured out.
I've said that about 4 times today. As
Okay, so please work systems and don't confuse me. Why will this not open for me? You know, I may try to do this just a different way because for reasons unknown, PowerPoint does not want to open right now. So let me try something else here. And it'll take me just a minute.
Sure.
If you can bear with me. Oh, wait a minute. There's something. Let me see. Okay, we'll see. Ah, yes, here we go. That's what I intended to bring up. Okay, now let me figure out how to share it.
Share the screen again there at the bottom. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Let's see. Does it show here? Yeah. Okay. So let's see if the system pieces are all together. Okay. So we've been through the love-hate one. Take a look at this one. This one is, oh no, that's not, wait a minute. What did it just do?
So it went to the very bottom. If you...
Yeah, I know. God bless it. It's not what I wanted it to do. The system interfered. So what do you see here? This is an interesting one.
Well, what I see when I first look at this are the people just looking out over the lake. And it seems, but the branches are kind of scary to me originally. And I'm like, it almost looks, but then I saw these nice people. So I'm trying to see if I need to see something else.
Oh, you definitely do. I have a people.
Oh my gosh. Holy cow. There's like a whole baby in there.
Yes. And once you see it, you'll always be able to see that. But until you see it, if someone were to tell you there was a baby in this picture, you would say,
you go, no.
This is a picture of a tree and a couple looking out over the water. What's wrong with you? Can't you see this light? Can't you see the baby? This is where we get into challenges in our languaging and our communication and also our perception, because each one of us structures the sensory data that our neurology is actually able to receive in a different way. And then we stick words on it and we fight over whose words are right and whose words are wrong. When you're just in the experience, of course, we're playing now with perception, but also the impact of the perception on your emotions. Now, let's talk about that a little more, because you said originally when you saw this tree, it looked kind of scary.
Yeah, it kind of looked like a cartoon sort of, like the forest that's going to grab you, kind of a little scary. Almost like a Tim Burton film or something. And then I was like, and then all of a sudden it was weird because all of a sudden the baby just showed up. I was like, whoa.
But before the baby showed up, you shifted your focus from the branches of the tree up here down to this couple on the shore looking out on the water. Now, was there a shift in the way your body felt when you shifted your focus?
Okay, you're right. So I had a different, instead of feeling the ominous sort of feeling, I went back to the people and felt maybe the love. It looks like one person has their hand around the other arm. And in that moment, what I'm understanding you telling me is that allowed my mind to see happiness maybe, but that's what sparked the connection. So
it was where you were focusing and how your mind was structuring what you were focused on.
Wow.
But now there are other pieces in this. I was doing a similar workshop a few weeks ago online, and somebody said, well, it looks as if there is a couple embracing there, not this couple down here, but up in this area. I don't know whether you can see that or not.
Huh.
Or some people saw, for example, a heart or a butterfly in this area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So your focus is shifting. This image is not changing.
Right.
But look what your mind is doing with it, and how the choice where you're focused impacts your emotions. Or maybe it's the other way around. Your emotional state actually focuses you on a particular aspect of this unchanging image.
Wow.
So, are you ready to move on?
Yeah.
But your choice.
Yeah, this is fun.
It is fun when you start playing with it instead of getting stuck in one image and fighting with other people about who's right and who's wrong. So, is there anything else you see here or you want to talk about here?
I keep wanting to see something kind of down in the left-hand corner above the when. It feels like there should be something with that rock, but I'm not pulling anything out of it particularly. So and then I don't want to feel like I'm trying to force something either, because when you said that one part looked like a butterfly, I'm like, well, yeah, I could see a butterfly out of that, or a heart, but that's not, I don't think that was the intention. So maybe I'm pushing too hard to see more than there is.
And maybe you are, yes. Another possibility there, right? So, Ruben, do you have anything you want to say here? I see you've unmuted.
Actually, let me open my camera too.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys can see me, but anyway, the first things that you showed, how different. I always see the young and the illusion and the love, and everything comes like that first. I also saw the couple seeing the water, that's the first wonderful thing I saw. And then I saw the tree, the branches look stranger, and till you mentioned the baby, then I say, a baby, and then I start looking, and it's incredible how our perception changes. And I wanted to ask you, what when you see the good and the love and the illusion, you see first, and what happens when you see the opposite first? There is any changes, or it's just whatever you see first?
I think it's whatever you see first, but the question I would be asking there would be, was my current emotional state somehow directing my perception and my mind to see something that matches my current emotional state? For example, if I'm feeling fear or terror, for example, am I going to see those branches as being scary? And what's going on inside me, and you can think of it as what's going on in your subconscious or your unconscious, is that going to be directing my focus as well? I don't know the answers to these questions, but they're questions.
I think so. For some reason, I think so. It's how you are inside that you see the outside, I will think so.
Could be. So should we move on here? I see we're about halfway through this. I have a half an hour. So this is called Circle Limit 4. It's by M.C. Escher. He was a Dutch artist, wasn't he? But what do you see here? Because this is another really interesting one, I think.
Oh my goodness. That's
cool. What do you see?
I see angels, and I would call them angels and devils, or it's depending on where you're looking at, the dark or the light space, or the shading, or the how you perceive it. But I see both the heavenly sort of looking things and kind of the demonic looking things all circling around and moving about.
And which did you see first?
I think at first I saw first I thought they were bats. And so I saw the bats first, and then I saw the angels. So I guess I must have seen the demons first.
So, and again, I ask you the same question. If you see the devils or the bats, how does it impact your emotions? And of course, we're sticking different words on what's out there in front of us. The image is not changing.
Yeah, but you're right. When I first saw, and then I was questioning how I was feeling. What does it mean that I saw that first? What does it mean that that I was so? But seeing the demons first made me kind of shrink and feel scared. But then I saw the angels and expanded. I like the way you said that earlier, and that accurately describes how I felt. A constriction and then an expansion.
And which state would you rather be in?
I would much rather be in the expansion state.
So then you have a choice as to where you're going to focus your attention and how you're going to use your mind to structure this data, let's call it sensory data, which our neurology can access. And if you get into theorists like the map is not the territory, Alfred Korzybski would be one. So what our minds are creating is not what our neurology is actually able to see. And then you get into concepts like first access with John Grinder and Carmen Bostic St. Clair. And this is even kind of takes it a step beyond the map is not the territory, because they point out that scientific experiments have shown that what our neurology can actually is able to access is limited. Dogs can hear sounds that human beings cannot hear. There are certain light waves which our neurology is not capable of accessing. So what the heck do we really know anyway? I mean, but it's fun to, but it's fun to play with this. And I mentioned this in another group I was with today. I just lost my train of thought because I was trying to remember. I was trying. I need to stop trying. I don't know. It's gone. And I see I've got another dog on it. I've got another screen share up here that has now stopped. So let me try something else here.
Okay.
I'm just going to go into another screen here. Sean did call me yesterday afternoon and say to me, well, where are you? Are you going to do this tomorrow? And I said, do what? Because I don't use WhatsApp. I'm not focused on WhatsApp. So let me, I think I have open-minded people here. So I'm going to share some optical illusions that I would not share with every group, but
and maybe we should be cautious because I think this is being recorded and will be shared with the entire world at some point. So
people can always turn it off if they are
I agree
offended. So let me see. Yeah, this is what I was going to pull up. Let's pull this one up, for example. Can you see that?
I see your whole screen.
You can't see. Oh, you can't see the. Oh, heck.
Well, I see lots of them, and you're hovered over the all is vanity optical illusion.
Okay, but on my screen it pulled up, but it didn't pull up on your screen. So let me try something different here. Come on. Thank you. Now let's try it again with moving from platform to platform. Share screen. Where's that? Here we go. So can you see it now?
Yes. Yes, I can.
And this was created by somebody whose last name was Gilbert, and I can't remember his first name. But it's called All is Vanity, and it's from Ecclesiastes. So what do you see here?
I see, the first thing I saw was a skull. And it was smaller, and when it came up to the fuller screen, I was able to see and the vanity and the vanity itself, the lady sitting at the vanity looking at herself in the mirror, putting on primping or getting her makeup or whatever that is.
So now this is interesting because this is integrating death maybe with life, but also with words from the Bible. So you've got kind of this three-way integration on this. And again, I'll ask you, if you see the young lady sitting at her vanity, how do you feel?
Well, it actually made me, at first I'm like, oh yeah, and then I felt, well, maybe I shouldn't be looking. Maybe I shouldn't be, I feel like I'm intruding a little bit.
Interesting.
But I also, as I look at it now, I wonder what she's thinking. wonder what she's looking at and how she's, because I don't know, it just makes me go, I wonder, there seems to be more to it than just a picture.
And there's almost a mirroring there too,
Yeah.
which is a psychological concept, which I frankly hadn't thought of before, but as you're talking now, I'm bouncing off of your thoughts and the things that you're seeing, and it kind of sends me off on my own mental tangents.
Well, that's fun. That's the intent of this, right? Is to raise all our consciousness and to have dialogue around what means what and how we see things.
And for me, you see, I don't even like those words, raise consciousness. To me, that's a very patriarchal way of thinking. I like the idea of expanding consciousness because all of us have some degree of consciousness or awareness. With some, it's really contracted. And with others, it's much more expanded and much more in play and creativity and co-creativity and what can we do together.
Thank you for saying that, because that brings an awareness to me as well. It's by saying raising, it's almost a judgment.
It is. It can be a judgment.
Yeah,
sometimes it's useful, but yes, it tends to make some people feel not good enough.
Okay.
So if you see the skull, what do you feel?
When I see the skull, I don't like it. I feel scared.
Okay, but and it is life and death contrasted here.
Yeah.
But the point is, none of us knows how much time we have been given. So are you going to live whatever time you've been given, each and every moment contracted and pulled into your shell and afraid? Or are you going to live life full out?
I want to live
Your choice. Your choice. I'm going to stop the share since my system is making things challenging for me. And I see we only have a short period of time left. There are a couple of things I would like to specifically find here and bring up. And, as you can see, I've got a lot of these things. You're just seeing small screen. I'm not going to stop on that one, although it's interesting.
So it looks like it stopped the sharing. So I see you now.
Well, I know I stopped the sharing. So just give me a minute. Since, apparently I didn't put the PowerPoint presentation together right. Let's try this one, and then I will share. Once I get it up here, I will try a screen share again, work my way through the logistical labyrinths. So this one. This is called Us.
Oh, wow.
Can you see why?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Tell me.
Because when I see you in me, and when I see me in you, then we are not other. Then we have an opportunity to have dialogue. We have peace. We have unity.
Yeah, and it's, for me, it's never static, although lots of times our minds stop at a single frame. So we collapse the dynamic creativity and co-creativity, I think of it as a living, breathing energy, into something static, which is very interestingly is the Christian symbol for prayer. It's a power with dynamic, or the Hindu symbol for namaste. Now, isn't that interesting?
Isn't that a joining of wisdoms, but traditions as well, and their meanings?
Well, you see, there is this connectivity that's possible. If you look at the logo behind me, and there's a lot more information about that on our Planetary Peace Power, andprosperity.org website. That kind of shows what we're playing with here. each of those beautiful rainbow lines going outward is the unique human beings that each one of us is on this planet. But how do we connect all this uniqueness and use it to serve us rather than drag us down? How do we move from this power over or power against dynamic into, first of all, a connection with, I like to call it a living, breathing energy, but that's just a placeholder for something that you can't conceptualize, but you can only experience. And then can we attract other people in with us to play together, create, co-create, and manifest? And I do have just one more, so let me find it.
Absolutely.
I will bring it up here.
Oh my goodness.
If I can find it, where the heck is it? Ah, here it is. I really want to know what you see in this one.
Butterflies.
Oh, wow.
I see a bunch of butterflies.
Wow, that's cool.
So what do you say?
Well, the first thing I saw was it almost was like a war mask for a Chinese war mask or something. And then I saw all the animals in it and went, oh, okay, wait a second. It's a whole bunch of there's everything. There's a lion, a sheep, and an elephant, and it looks like a cow and a horse and a rabbit and everything. I'm like, whoa, it's like so much more than what I first saw.
And you keep looking at it and you keep seeing more things in here. Now, we're not talking to Ruben, are we?
Well, actually, I had a comment in the last 3 slides. One is that I didn't see any contraction when I saw the skeleton, because I am from Mexico, so we are used to that, Dia de los Muertos, and death for us is not as much taboo as it is for USA, I think. But also the other slide, it reminds me of the Mayan salutation, which is in Lakesh, Alakel, which means I am you and you are me. And
that's interesting.
That's I did a sculpture that I called Ubuntu, which is an African term defined loosely kind of as I am because you are, and you are because I am. That's interesting that there's so many, that's connecting.
To me, now your conversation is fascinating to me, because in all the workshops I've done with this, it's the first time I've heard that dynamic exchange going on of perceptions and how they tie into traditions or cultures. And we're going back now to the previous slide, and I'm not going to go through the logistics of trying to pull it up again, but it was like all this vanity, one with the skull and the woman sitting in front of the mirror and the vanity. But I think it's in Portugal. There's a chapel of the bones. So there is a chapel that is actually built from human bones. Boy, is it an experience to go into that. So how do you integrate the idea of a sanctuary with all these bones, human bones, from which it was built? I mean, it's it feels like a tension or a paradox or an inconsistency, or I don't even know how to express it, but it's a very interesting experience walking into that chapel, I can promise you. So can either of you, and I see we're over time here, so just one last question.
Yeah.
Do you know what this is called? Can you guess?
Butterflies.
What was that?
Butterflies. That was my first impression. A bunch of monarch butterflies together, I thought.
Well, that's
I wonder if it's called The Hunting.
Okay, I will tell you what it is called, and then we're going to wrap this up. It is called Earth.
Earth.
Oh, yes.
Because it's integrating everything, not everything, but certainly the mammalian life on our planet. I mean, you can see that the whole thing too as a man with a scarf around his neck.
Yeah.
And maybe the scarf turns into a naked female body too. Not quite sure about that.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
But, you know, plus all the animals. So anyway, this is called Earth, and I'm sorry, I forget who created this, but again, it's fun to play with. So, you know, thank you both very much for playing with me here today.
Oh, and thank you, Dr. Warfield. I would love to go sit down and get coffee with you sometime and just understand this whole thing, go to lunch. And there's so much fun. There's so much to perception and so much to what you were saying with the energy and our choices to make that. And how can we expand that consciousness out? Thank you.
Well, we play together. And which is the best way of doing it, I think. And we explore together. And we create, co-create, and manifest. Yeah. So thank you. I'm really glad we could do this interactively. I said to Sean last night, how the heck do I do a workshop if I'm just really doing a presentation and I'm not interacting live with people? So thank you for being my partners in this. And I wish you well.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to be your partners. And if you'll stop your screen share.
That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Thank you. Thank you for being there and telling me, working me through the logistics.
Oh, no. And again, I understand that it's been a long day for you. Thank you for your time and your energy. So thank you so much. And we will continue on. Our next is actually Frida, who is here. Your little screen says Ruben, but this is actually Frida, our next presenter.
Yes.
And I am going to leave simply because I have had a very long day and I need to get some other things done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.